Italy turn up the heat on Gregor Townsend with gritty Six Nations victory over Scotland. Italy's long-awaited rise from Six Nations afterthoughts to genuine competitors took another significant step forward on Saturday night as the Azzurri claimed a fully deserved 18-15 victory over Scotland in Rome. In doing so, Gonzalo Quesada's side not only opened their championship in style, but also intensified the pressure on Scotland head coach Gregor Townsend, whose tenure continues to flatter to deceive. In deteriorating conditions at the Stadio Olimpico, Italy were sharper, more disciplined in key moments, and tactically smarter. Scotland, by contrast, once again struggled to impose themselves when faced with an opponent who matched them physically and outthought them strategically. While the Scottish Rugby Union has publicly backed Townsend, performances like this will inevitably fuel doubts about whether the national side has stagnated under his stewardship. Italy's win was built on a blistering opening quarter, outstanding aerial work, and a calm, controlled display from fly-half Paolo Garbisi, whose boot ensured Scotland were never able to wrestle back control despite scoring 2 tries at a fast, fearless Italian start from the opening exchanges. It was clear that Italy had arrived with intent. In wet and windy conditions, they played with clarity and confidence, targeting Scotland's backfield with intelligent kicking and showing far greater cohesion in the aerial contest. Scotland's selection decisions immediately came under scrutiny. Townsend had opted to leave prolific try scorers Duhan, Merwe, and Darcy Graham out of the starting 15, citing, at least in part, concerns over their aerial effectiveness. Instead, Glasgow Warriors pair Kyle Stein and Jamie Doby were handed starting roles on the wings. That gamble backfired almost instantly. Italy's first try came after one Ignacio Brex spotted disorganization in Scotland's backfield and nudged a perfectly weighted grubber into space. Lynagh, alert and unchallenged, raced onto the ball and touched down without a defender in sight. It was a simple score, but one born of superior anticipation and awareness. Moments later, Italy struck again. Lynagh reclaimed a high ball under minimal pressure, and the Azzurri quickly shifted play left. Tommaso Menoncello, already emerging as one of Europe's most exciting midfield talents, needed little invitation. The Benetton center accelerated past the scrambling cover defense to score a stunning solo try. After just 15 minutes, Italy led 12-0. And Scotland were visibly rattled. Scotland respond, but can't sustain pressure. To their credit, Scotland did not fold. Despite the worsening weather, their handling improved, and they began to string together phases through Finn Russell and Ben White. That pressure told, as Italy were forced into a series of infringements near their own line. Eventually, Jack Dempsey powered over from close range, reducing the deficit and injecting belief into the visitors. It was a reminder of Scotland's physical edge when they managed to generate momentum. But crucially, they failed to build on it. As the rain intensified, the contest became one of fundamentals: aerial security, breakdown accuracy, and decision-making. In that battle, Italy were superior. Their kick chase remained organized, their breakdown work disciplined, and their composure under pressure impressive. Paolo Garbisi punished Scotland with a well-struck penalty before the interval, extending Italy's lead to 15-5 and ensuring the hosts went into the break firmly in control. Menoncello nearly strikes again. Scotland knew the challenge ahead was significant, and their fears almost materialized immediately after the restart. A fortunate deflection landed in Menoncello's hands, and the center burst clear with only desperate Scottish scrambling preventing another Italian try. That escape seemed to jolt Scotland into life. They responded with sustained phases and forced Italy back, earning a penalty that Russell converted to bring the score to 15-8. For the first time, Scotland were within a converted try of parity. But once again, Italy found a response. Moments later, Garbisi calmly slotted another penalty to restore Italy's buffer. His control of the game, tactically kicking well, managing territory, and keeping Scotland honest, was central to Italy's success. Discipline and depth test Scotland's problems deepened midway through the second half, when hooker George Turner was sent to the sin bin for a reckless clear-out on Manuel Ziliani. It compounded a miserable day for Scotland's hookers. Ewan Ashman had already endured a torrid afternoon at the lineout, with misfires disrupting Scotland's attacking rhythm. Although Scotland survived the sin bin period without conceding further points, the conditions made creativity almost impossible. Each phase required enormous effort, and errors were brutally punished. When Turner returned, Italy gifted Scotland an opportunity with a needless infringement, not their first lapse of discipline, and the visitors capitalized. A 5-meter maul was formed, and while the initial drive was halted, George Horne found a sliver of space to dart over the line and score. Suddenly, the score was 18-15, and Italy were under real pressure. Italian resolve holds firm. What followed was a tense, dramatic finale. Scotland threw everything forward, probing through multiple phases as the clock wound down. Italy defended heroically, folding around the breakdown, contesting every ruck, and refusing to be drawn into reckless penalties. In the final moments, Scotland launched one last desperate attack, but Italy's defensive line held firm. When the final whistle sounded, the roar from the Stadio Olimpico reflected not just relief, but a growing belief that this Italian side belongs at this level. A result that raises questions in Scotland. For Italy, this victory was a reward for patience and progress under Quesada. Their structure, discipline, despite a few lapses, and growing confidence suggest they are no longer content with moral victories. For Scotland, the defeat was another worrying data point in a cycle of inconsistency. Townsend's side continued to promise much, but delivered too little, particularly away from home. Selection decisions backfired, fundamentals were lacking, and adaptability was minimal when Plan A failed. While the SRU has publicly supported Townsend, defeats like this, against a rapidly improving Italy, will only intensify scrutiny. Teams Italy: 15 Leonardo Marin, 14 Louis Lynagh, 13 Juan Ignacio Brex, 12 Tommaso Menoncello, 11 Monty Ione, 10 Paolo Garbisi, 9 Alessandro Fusco, 8 Lorenzo Canoni, 7 Manuel Zuliani, 6 Michel Lamoureux, 5 Andrea Zambanin, for Niccolò Canoni, 3 Simone Ferrari, 2 Giacomo Nicotera, 1 Danilo Fischetti replacements, Tommaso Di Bartolomeo, Mirko Spagnolo, Mohamed Aza, Federico Ruzza, Riccardo Favretto, Alessandro Garbisi, Giacomo Daré, Lorenzo Pani Scotland, 15 Tom Jordan, 14 Kyle Stein, 13 Jones, 12 Sione Tuipulotu, 11 Jamie Dobie, 10 Finn Russell, 9 Ben White, 8 Jack Dempsey, 7 Rory Darge, 6 Matt Fagerson, 5 Grant Gilchrist, 4 Scott Cummings, 3 Xander Fagerson, 2 Evan Ashman, 1 Pierre Schumann replacements, George Turner, Nathan Ammechibet, Elliott, Miller Mills, Max Williamson, Gregor Brown, George Horne, Adam Hastings, Darcy Graham. Officials: referee Ben O'Keefe, Encheter. Assistant referees: James Dolman, Encheter, Katsuki Fusha, Yeref, Humo, Richard Kelly, Encheter, Efbero, Marius van der Westhuizen, Escharu.